so fuzzy.
All right, my guest today puts the bitchin' in stitchin'. She is founder of Tales from the Stitch, whose handmade knitted replica figures of icons and monsters in horror has made quite the impact, with buyers including Jennifer Tilly and Jordan Peele. She is known as the Stitch Keeper, but I know her as Miss Chelsey Scully. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. How are you?
Very crazy week. Very crazy week for us. Like your headline, which is beautiful by the way. I watch horror movies, then I crochet those horror movies. It's very simple and like beautifully put. And you started making dolls as just a hobby, but what really gave you the idea to turn it into a business?
Pretty much I started making the dolls and then I kind of just posted them on social media, just my regular pages, as one does when they make something. And people really liked them. So I figured, why not try selling them? It's kind of creepy having a bunch of the dolls in the house anyway. Jennifer Tilly purchased a few of my dolls for the cast of Cult of Chucky when it came out. I didn't realize how important, I guess, social media is. I didn't realize how quickly it spread. So it's definitely kind of cool to see it make its way around the dolls and that.
I've always had a deep interest in pop culture and horror, and I was exposed to it at like a very young age, like toddler age. So, what was your earliest memory of being introduced to that genre, and did it stem into your hobby of crochet?
It absolutely did stem into my hobby of crochet. My dad was a huge horror fan, so I think the first movie I remember actually sitting down and watching was the movie House. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do. And you mean, and it has like the cover of it is like that hand pushing the doorbell.
Best things. We would go to like Blockbuster. I used to just go down the horror aisles and look at the covers, and I'd pick one, and my dad would kind of look and be like, "Yeah, we can watch this." And because he was a big fan, he kind of knew what movies I could watch, and ones that were unacceptable. You know what I mean? There were a lot of movies that we did watch together. The original Night of the Living Dead, the black and white. I watch these movies now, and it kind of takes you back to your childhood and that feeling when they used to scare you. And
So then you have to be a big Halloween fan.
oh, absolutely. I like Halloween because it's just for a whole month of October. I have a 3-year-old, and because I collect a lot of horror things, she's not really phased by it. I shouldn't say she's not really phased. There's the odd thing in my office that she doesn't like, and it kind of spooks her. But I like to show her the fun horror movies. And it's nice now because there are a lot of kids' movies that are more horror based. We love Paranorman. It's a great film, and it's dark too, but like it's not a happy film. You know what I mean? Like it's sad and it touches on bullying, and I cry in it every time. But there's a good moral behind it, right? And my kid
Extremely.
likes the zombies, of course, and
Yeah.
the pretty, I guess, was it CGI or claymation?
Yeah, it was
I don't know
claymation.
what that
I think most of it, no, most of it was claymation.
as long as there's no sex and nudity, and I think it's good for kids to be scared and to talk to them, right? Like you watch the movies with them, and if they have a question, you tell them about it, explain about movie magic, how to not
Yes.
real.
My mother, she exposed me to horror, like, very, very young. And, like, I think my earliest memory is watching, like, Child's Play and hiding behind the couch. Mars Attacks was a favorite when I was young.
Oh, yes.
And,
Yeah.
and apparently I was told that we would go around the house making the alien noises for no reason.
Oh, yeah.
The other one was a Trilogy of Terror. Yeah, the little voodoo doll. Yep, and I think it was cursed, and we'd run around the house and like chase her. And to me, that was terrifying as a little kid watching that.
The dolls are still terrifying, running around killing people.
And one of your most recent projects that you're doing is you're making a set of dolls modeled from the Last Drive-In series.
Yeah, I'm having fun with that. I figured because they're doing it every Friday night. It's nice because every doll kind of helps me to practice, I guess. You know what I mean? I just kind of pick a movie and I pick a character that I haven't really done before, something that would have more different shapes or different colors that I want to try. And yeah, so it's nice. I just have a week to practice on the doll and see what turns out and go from there.
From what I know about it, because Shudder like had relaunched the series, the thing that I love about it is that the host, Joe Bob Briggs, he says that like this beautiful, like catchy redneck like humor that is almost informative and like this Q&A hostess approach. So, but I remember watching the trailer for when the series was being launched, and it had the introduction of himself sitting in the chair, and he was reading all the credits, but all the credentials were from him. He was like produced by Joe Bob Briggs and written by Joe Bob Briggs, and then he goes, "I'll be working the camera, I'll be working the sound." It was just, it was just that
Yeah.
wonderful sense of humor, and it reminded me of other similar horror hosts that I grew up with, like Elvira and Elvira's movie Macabre, or Svengoolie. Do you remember Svengoolie?
I don't, but I am Canadian and I had a double whammy against me because I lived in the country. So we had like three channels or channels if the antenna wasn't being a bitch. So we didn't get a lot of those shows. So I mean, I knew who Elvira was in that, but I never actually got to see her in anything as a kid or a teenager, right? But it's nice to look back on them now and watch them and see how awesome they were.
I watch Svengoolie, I think it's like every Saturday. And Elvira, I think she does Knox Berry Farms, or Knox Scary Farms for the Halloween season over here in California. One of the things that she did, which really sad, it never really kicked off, was the pilot episode for Elvira.
Was it going to be like a TV series?
Yeah, they were going to make a series out of it. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been great.
Yeah.
And I love how she's still like that now, you know, even in this day and age where people are like, oh, women shouldn't be, you know, graceful, I guess, showing your boobs off and sex and all that. But she just doesn't give a fuck, right?
That she was in an interview that she did. She was talking, like, people would ask her where she got her clothes from and where she got her bras from. And she said that she used to go to this store it's not open anymore, but it was for like exotic dancewear, you know, that's where the strippers and entertainers would go for their clothing. And she said the bras were amazing, but you can't get them anymore. I don't even think like the performers here on Fremont, the women, have that kind of support. It's gorgeous. I've always wanted like my own custom boulder holder. So going back to the Last Drive-In doll set, you also have Patreon content. Can you tell us like more about that?
I do. I just started it a couple months ago. My idea, kind of in general, is I want to make crafting videos eventually. So kind of like Martha Stewart-ish, but more horror-y, I guess, if that's a word. Well, I think it would be nice to have little patterns or even just little projects that you can do at home, because I mean everybody loves to do a craft here and there. So I'd like to do things like that and have like little videos or even just patterns for the dolls. Maybe not the doll themselves. I don't really have patterns with my dolls. I just kind of sculpt them as I go along. But I definitely like to have some for like some cool Twilight Zone inspired pot holders, or you know, do you remember those like things from the 80s that held all those plastic bags? You'd like hang it from the wall and then you just like pull a plastic bag out from the bottom, like the grocery bags. It was like made of a fabric, so it was just like a long bag and you pulled it out of the bottom. But anyway, I'd love to do a pattern for something like that because I find people always have plastic bags.
Like every time I'll go out shopping or get a plastic bag, I recycle my bags, you know? So if I'm going like to a department store and they give you like those little hand plastic baggies that have like the name and logo, and they're pretty sometimes, I'll take those and I'll save what I need for like storage bags, like toiletries, and I'll wrap it in one of those bags to pack like from flying or traveling. and I don't even really have big trash bags anymore. I just reuse the small plastic bags that I get from grocery stores. It's, you know what? It's funny that earlier, just a little off topic, but it's funny earlier that you had mentioned you showing your daughter Killer Clowns from Outer Space, because you said that that was your favorite horror movie.
I love that movie to death. I just think it's the perfect film from start to finish. And it's fun, and the makeup in it, like even now, it stands up to time. I like the practical effects, and it's really cool the way they did all the clowns, and it's a basic story. There's no, confusion in it. It's just clowns are coming down to earth. It's got the happy ending, and it's just a great fun film to watch.
I remember, well, from that film, I think that there was a scene where they were in the spaceship, and they were looking at, like, there was a cotton can. I don't know if it was like a giant cotton candy room making people, or they were like making people into cotton candy.
Well, they wrapped the people up in the cotton candy to eat them later. Because the movie wasn't that gory. There was the clown that punched the guy's head off. That's kind of why I let my kid watch it too, because it really wasn't that gory, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was all comical.
It made me a little uncomfortable because the music. I mean,
yeah. That theme song though is fantastic.
Speaking of like theme songs, I was doing an interview with a friend of mine, Mike Napier, and we were talking about ballads and lost songs from horror movies that never really made it into the movie. And I think Child's Play had one, and The Fly had one. These are like songs that were never used in the film, and for good reason if you've ever heard them, because they're awful. But I really thought that maybe movies like this also had lost, not just like lost footage, but like lost audio and lost soundtracks that we never got to hear. So, I mean, if you were to be writing like a theme song for this movie, what would you call it?
Well, is there really any other nickname that pretty much sums it all up? Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I guess I wouldn't want it to be too creepy. I'd want it to be more fun so that people would want to watch it. Campy fun, so.
Well, out of all the films that have come out, besides Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which one do you think has been the most impactful?
Oh, It's a movie that it was a good film, and I know it is horror, but a lot of people that don't really like horror also enjoyed it. There was more to the story than just jump scares. It was definitely more of a mental scare.
I mean, have you seen the new trailer for the second one coming out?
Yes, I have. I was sitting there waiting for the countdown for it to come out. I think it looks fantastic. I'm super stoked to see the second part of that.
My favorite, I think, but besides it, both the original and the remake, has been Eli Roth's Clown. And if you've seen any of Eli Roth's films, which I'm sure you have, his style of writing and directing, it was so. And now that made me cry. Like that was a gut puncher to me. Like it's about a man who. He's a real estate agent, and he finds, like, in this old house, he finds this clown outfit, and he's going to his kid's birthday party. And he puts the outfit on, but the outfit takes him over because it's a cursed outfit. Like, it's locked up, and it's made to not be worn. But he puts it on anyway, and he comes to find himself he can't get the clothes off of him the next day. Like, he can't get the nose off. It's ripping his skin. Like, it's almost like morphing to his body, and then he finds out like the suit is actually like the skin piece from like a clown, that folklore clown. Like if people really look into the origins of clowns, they are not these happy go-lucky like squirting like flower, the flower waters in your face. They were evil. They would like lure children and eat them, and they were just nightmarish things. And that's basically what this is doing to him. It's turning him into this child eating clown.
I think I remember seeing a preview for that, actually. And on it, there's so many movies where I see a preview and I'm like, I have to check that out. Mm-hmm. And then I just wander off, and that's the end of it. And I feel terrible, but there's so much out there.
So how much time does it actually like take to make just one of these dolls? Because I've never crocheted before, but from what it looks like, it looks very time consuming.
It's not too bad. One doll usually takes 4 to 6 hours. Sometimes 8. If it's like a really detailed doll, it'll take about 8 hours, but the norm is usually 4 to 6 hours. I'm very particular about them as well, so I don't make mass quantities of them. Pretty much like my little tagline there says, I watch a movie and then I crochet the movie. I get inspired by these movies. So if I'm watching something, I'll be like, oh, I really like that character, or that character will look. So I'll make them and then I'll put them on my site to sell, and that's the end of it. You won't see it again unless somebody custom orders it, of course. But no, I really don't like doing mass quantities of things.
Okay, so that's really then where you're for none, you'll never get the same doll twice comes from.
Yeah, exactly. Every single doll will be different slightly in some way. I really want to do the Universal monsters. I've been wanting to do them for years. I just haven't really found the time to sit down and work on them all. But I want to do them. I'm probably going to go on another Kurt Russell kick. I'm not going to lie.
Has anybody ever asked you to make customized dolls of like them as a horror character?
No. I've done custom dolls of like that. Well, I guess Jennifer Tilly did. When I made them for her, I had to make the whole cast like as people holding a Chucky doll. So I guess that's kind of horror related there. But yeah, I love doing stuff like that because I like looking at how I can make the doll look like different people. Yeah, it's a base pattern, I guess, and then you just add on to it to make them look different with features like eyebrows or cheekbones. Hair is the worst. I hate doing hair. Excuse me. I mean, I do it, but it's always a pain in the ass. But I guess it's tedious. You know what I mean? Like I pretty much hot glue every strand of hair onto the head, and then make sure, and then I do another layer where every hair has to be right in the right place to kind of make it look either curly or straight or cowlick. So yeah, that usually consumes at least half an hour, 45 minutes of the doll time is the hair itself.
See, I think I'm the same way, but I make props every year for like Halloween and Christmas because the most time consuming one, I think I take a lot of time in planning out like what my house inside and outside is going to look like, because I'm just like that festive person. And of course, Halloween is such a big deal to me that if I don't do like at least a little bit of something, I feel like I let myself down. So I'm very meticulous in how I'm doing the decorations, from like the way the webbing looks to the way my jack-o'-lantern is going to be carved. And so it can take me 3 or 4 tries to get a face correct before I'm satisfied. And I know it's going to go bad eventually. I mean, I scoop out the guts and the seeds and I eat them, but it's just looking at the work itself. It's like, eventually you're going to have to take it down, and then you look at you realize all the work you put into it, like the hours outside and on ladders and getting splinters and whatever.
Yeah, but that Halloween night, it's so worth it, is it not? Just to look at that and be like, yes, that's a good job.
Oh, I get prepped like the last week of September. I'm getting my stuff out. Like it's going. And it might be like 2 weeks into October before everything is like set up the way I want it to. But then I'll leave it up until like the middle of November. Like I get like go past my birthday, and then I'll take them down.
I had one year, I put this zombie head on my front lawn with a bunch of other decorations, and I hung this zombie head from my tree, and I forgot about it. So then it just became a joke, and this zombie head just kind of hung from this tree on our front lawn. And so for Christmas, we put a little hat on him. And one day, I came home, and somebody had like ever so neatly cut the zombie head from the tree and put it on our on our back doorstep. And I never knew who it was, but they were obviously offended by this poor zombie head.
You know what? There's something similar that happened like 3 years back. This man, he makes, I want to say he's in Ohio, and he has a display every year for Christmas, a zombie nativity scene. He pissed a lot of people off with that one. I mean, they were petitioning him almost like he would do it throughout the year, and I think like in his second or third year, like he got petitioned to take it down, or he was going to get fined like every day for how long it was going to be up.
you know, it's Christmas. If you're going to do that for Christmas, you're going to expect to take a lot of people off. There's a time and a place. You know, you can have a zombie head hanging from your tree, a Christmas hat. That's one thing, like a full display. But yeah, I think it was really cool. I saw pictures of it, and it definitely was a gorgeous job he did.
It inspired me to one day, Christmas time, just for shits and giggles, put a giant Krampus on my roof.
I want to do the whole Krampus movie scene on my front lawn. I never could because it'd probably be expensive, but
I'm sure there's some guy out there or some person who loves Die Hard, and it's considered a Christmas movie, but you know, I'm sure there's some fanatic out there who wants to do that for their Christmas decorations, like for, you know, just put pictures of Bruce Willis up in their front lawn, you know, and have like explosions and Christmas hats. I know every year I love where I used to live in Florida, like, and I was putting up decorations actually it was for the Halloween, yeah. And this woman was walking by, and she stops and she tells somebody in my household, you know, that they look forward to my yard every year, like the whole neighborhood. It's like I started out, and then I see a house across the street put, you know, decorations. Then the house across from them does it. It's like this beautiful chain reaction. And she said, you know, we appreciate what you do. Like, we look forward to these decorations every year. The kids love looking at them. And that really touched me. There's nothing more depressing to me than having to live in a town where nothing gets celebrated, especially Halloween.
Yeah, well, no, at our old place, we were in a duplex, and so I just had like a tiny little area to decorate. So I like decked it all out in like, you know, 2 days because it was just a small little deck. But it was the kids, like, to see their faces light up, because one house was actually like, you know, somebody put effort into it. That's what it's all for, man, just for other people to be happy, right?
You know, they have Christmas in July, and I never understood it, and I wanted to start Halloween in May or Halloween in June.
That and Halloween parades. Christmas always gets a parade. Why can we not have one for Halloween? I think that would be fantastic.
Well, I found out my next project. That's it. We're doing a parade. Halloween parade. You got it. I'm sure out in Vegas, maybe somebody's already done it before. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, but they got cool things in Vegas. I'm from Prince Edward Island. It's a great little island, but they don't have a lot for Halloween, and they dig Christmas. They love Christmas down here. Halloween is not a big thing.
Out in Vegas, I'm pretty sure if it's a holiday, they're going to try and celebrate it. It doesn't matter what the hell it is. St. Patty's Day, Halloween, Christmas, they're all out here doing it. So, never a boring time. Well, anyway, Miss Chelsey, or Stitch Keeper, I should say, it really made me happy to know somebody else that was enthusiastic about this stuff as I was.
Oh, it was very nice speaking with you, too. Thank you so much for asking me.
Absolutely. I love, you know, supporting, I like not just supporting local, but also, you know, other entrepreneurs and people who just love sharing art and sharing stories.
I would gladly make a doll for you. Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for supporting my work, though. It means a lot. I love when I make the doll and it makes people happy, and that's pretty much what I get. Can I say one thing?
Absolutely.
Okay. I went to one of those, like, places where you go to sell your goods kind of thing. It was more of a Comic-Con, but it wasn't like the Comic-Con. It wasn't horror based, but I had all my dolls there, and it was nice because everybody who walked by smiled, and I mean every single person just would look at a doll and just smile at them, and whether they stopped and kind of picked it up or carried on their way, and I don't know, at that point it was kind of nice. I was like, you know, at least they're making people happy. And not only that, the weirdest thing, I had a set of Tremors. You remember Tremors, right? So I had that set, and I always thought Tremors was like just some random movie that only me and a few people knew about kind of thing. But every single person knew what that movie was. They're like, oh yeah, Tremors, I remember that from like when I was a kid, and I was just so happy that Tremors was actually a popular movie that people saw maybe only once. It's always nice to know that a movie that you think nobody enjoys, but you enjoy, everybody actually enjoys. But yeah, I got a kick out of that.
You are making people happy, but at the same time, you know, you're sharing an experience. So somebody could even walk by and get inspired just by looking at it, or you know, be taken back to being a kid or teenager and maybe a good time in their life.
The internet is so full of negativity too. It's nice to be, scrolling through your feed or whatever, and see people arguing and all that, and then just, Angela with her penis from sleepaway camp in a crochet with her.
So where can people find you and find out more about the dolls that you're doing?
I do sell my dolls on Etsy, so if you just go to Etsy and search Tales from the Stitch, no spaces though, otherwise you won't find the shop because Etsy is weird like that. Twitter, Instagram, and you'll find me on Facebook as well. And that's pretty much where I post all my dolls and what I have for sale. And
Okay.
then Patreon too, which I just kind of started, but definitely check it out. There is going to be some fun content going in there as well.
Well, I'll put some links below this video for people to visit if anybody's interested in finding out more about Tales from the Stitch and what Miss Chelsey does, or if you want a custom doll, go check it out. It's really, really good work. Really good work. And I will leave with this. I would love to see a doll from Evolution. You remember that movie?
I watched that a few months ago. I will definitely do one up just for you. I'll tag you as soon as it's done.
Well, thank you. That warms my heart. Well, once again, thank you for joining me today. And I really hope that our talk has impacted people out there to get in the damn spirit, decorate, crochet, do something,
Yes.
Get involved. Get involved, guys. I appreciate, and Miss Chelsey, of course, appreciates you guys taking the time to listen today. And as always,
I do.
subscribe, share. Our information will be in the link below. All right, guys, stay spooky.